One man who can help us unpack this particular bid and also take a quick look at the Afro basket is a former coach of the women's national basketball team himself. He's currently a sports consultant based out of Houston in the United States of America. Professor Patrick Omo-Osagie joins us again tonight. Professor Omo-Osagie, thank you so much for coming through tonight on Game On. Always a pleasure to have you on the show. Very quickly, before we talk about the Nigeria's aspirations for hosting the Commonwealth Games, you've been keeping a close eye on the Nigerian national team at AfroBasket. I know because you told me so. Your thoughts on their performance so far? A team that nobody really gave a chance of, doing that as well as they thought they would. 3 wins in 3 matches. They seem to be dark horses for the title.
But they keep saying they were not given a chance. Look, anytime we play basketball within Africa, we should always be reckoned with. I mean, we probably have a cluster of very good players, both in the men and women. I've said it with the women. I mean, if the women want to win 10 in a row, they're probably going to be able to do that easily. The men have a little bit tougher, but they're always going to be in the mix. Like you said, the game against Senegal is going to be key as to how things progress. If they beat Senegal, they're probably going to play in the final game. I haven't really watched Senegal play, but I've watched all our games. They're playing very well. They seem to be doing the right things. The coaching seems to be very adequate with this player. So let's wish them the best against Senegal. I don't know when that game is. I think it's tomorrow or maybe Wednesday. But they're doing pretty well right now. And we should always be reckoned with in Africa when it comes to basketball.
Okay, that man on your screen, Josh Okogie, I need to ask you a question about him because in the past, we've always talked about how difficult it was for the Nigerian Basketball Federation to get players in the NBA to play for our national teams at international competitions because of issues regarding insurance. Now, surprisingly, we have NBA player Josh Okogie, who plays for the Houston Rockets, right here in this team. What has changed?
Well, look, I believe that there was some kind of arrangement between FIBA, of course, the world governing body, and the NBA as regards to the level of insurance coverage that these players would need. Remember, really, all they're trying to cover is injury and their salary with their club. I mean, you get paid to play for your club, not to play for your country. But FIBA wants the best players to play in their tournaments. So they try to work out something. I don't know what the details are, but I think it's a little bit easier than it was, say, 5-10 years ago. But the reason we don't still have we have a good number of NBA players, but most of them probably normally skip this because they're tired from the season. They have personal things to take care of. This is not always a very good time for them to want to play for Nigeria. But we're happy that Josh is here.
Professor, good evening. What are your thoughts regarding the Tigers and their performance so far in this tournament? It seems to be that we've grown as the tournament has gone by, after playing 2 group stage games. But then it also seems like we're relying on individual brilliance a lot. What are your thoughts on the Tigers' performance so far?
Well, basketball at a high level, really, I mean, yes, it's a team sport, but we always say that, you need one thing to really be a basketball player to be reckoned with, and that is your ability to create your own shots. And that is what obviously you have with an NBA player like a Josh Okogie and some of the other players that play pretty well around Europe. We have guys that can create a shot, thereby creating a mismatch, which will then throw a 2-person defense on them. And a good kick out would always lead to either an open jump shot or a straight line to the basket. They're doing very well defensively because, look, we're usually very strong physical team. So they're doing very well on that line. I mean, again, the basketball seems to be very smooth right now. They're playing playing very well together. They're shooting decently from outside. So, look, I don't think they have a problem right now. Let's see what happens when they have the first real tough game that is closed for a very long time. There's no game that has been closed beyond the second quarter. By the third quarter, it's a blowout and they just kind of close to the end. So those first 3 games have been very good for them and should be good for them with confidence. It gives them a lot of confidence going ahead.
Well, Professor, I want you to
help me understand why we are bidding to host the Commonwealth Games in 2030. I say this because all the times we have hosted championship, we have not gained anything. I'll give you an example. Nigeria 99 World Youth Championship was hosted in this country, and the stadium, the National Stadium in Lagos, is in a deplorable state. In 2003, we hosted the All African Games, now known as the African Games. That stadium is also in a decrepit state. In 2009, we hosted the Under-17 World Cup. One of the facilities at the Teslim Balogun Stadium has not hosted any sporting event, for a while. So this is just the reason they always give for trying to host an international. So why are we hosting?
Well, look, textbook-wise, they say the reason you host international events is to help improve your infrastructure. That's what the textbook says. Now, that is why countries or states host events like this. Now, has it been beneficial to Nigeria? Yes, we built a national stadium in '73 in Surulere for the African Games. We built another one for the 2003 Games in Abuja. But I think they have structured those buildings, or those facilities wrong. The Abuja Stadium should never have been a games village. They should have been able to move things around. The swimming pool should never be, you can't build a swimming pool in that place. It's too far from town, so it cannot be used. Can you imagine if you put that swimming pool in the center of Abuja, somewhere, where people can actually get to learn to swim, have fun swimming, pay to swim so that it can be maintained. The same thing, you can't put the indoor stadium right by the football or track and field stadium. What I'm trying to say is that we built wrong, so that doesn't help develop our infrastructure. It in fact kills our infrastructure because it's not being put into good use. So that's a huge problem. Now going forward, look, 2030 is the centenary anniversary of the Commonwealth Games. That's a huge Commonwealth Games, really. Usually you have about 70 plus countries attending the Commonwealth Games. You might have a little bit more because it's 100 years anniversary and all that. Can Nigeria host it? Yes, but do we have $3 to $5 billion to spend at this time? Because we'll need a lot of new facilities. You almost can't use any facilities beside the big MK Abiola Stadium. That track has to be fixed, a lot of things. You have to get the indoor, you have to build a new indoor. You have to build a swimming pool, indoor swimming pool. These things are going to cost a whole lot of money. Then we have to start looking ahead. Do you need an indoor swimming pool?
So Professor, sorry to cut you short, and that's why a lot of people are asking. You said between $3 to $5 billion. Now, I'm thinking that this is money better spent, used to improve the lives of Nigerians, used to improve public infrastructure, used to improve facilities that Nigerians can't depend on after the games have come and gone. So, with the removal of the oil, the fuel subsidy, there seems to be a lot of money awash around Nigeria, and we really don't know what to do with it. Should we be spending between $3 to $5 billion hosting a competition that will really do nothing for Nigeria, if you ask a lot of people? And to be honest, I do not know of any Commonwealth Games hosts, or very few, who have actually hosted the games and made a profit.
Well, look, nobody's here's a simple fact about the Commonwealth Games. You're not likely to make a profit. It's not the Olympic Games. It's the Commonwealth Games, those that were under the British Empire. You remember it used to actually be called the Empire Games or something like that, So look, you're not going to make money. It was 2026 was supposed to be, it was actually awarded to Victoria in Australia.
Yeah.
After they looked at it and saw what, how much they were going to spend, they pulled out. It's now, I think, going to Glasgow in Scotland. That means in the last under 10 years or so, they last hosted it in 2014.
Yeah.
They probably believe they still have the facilities that are ready. Somewhere in Scotland, Scotland's a pretty nice place to host that kind of an event. I don't know why we want to do it, because I just think that we're strapped for money as a country right now, and I don't see really the benefits to hosting this particular tournament. I would rather us concentrate on probably hosting a Cup of Nations in football, in soccer. You know, even maybe back. Look, can you imagine? We've won 5 straight Afro basketball women. We haven't played any of those tournaments at home. I mean, the growth of our basketball would be better served if we host and win at home. That's very simple. Can you look? Not even winning at home. Look at all the banks. Look at all the private companies that are putting money forward. You know, just to say thank you to the girls. It'll be a big difference if you come home and win it. Even prior to winning it at home, the kind of money people will put into infrastructure. If we say we want to host the African Cup of Nations, I'm sure that within a year, 18 months, we can build a 10,000, 12,000 basketball facility or an indoor facility of really high standards. Doesn't take that long. It's not really that expensive. All you need is really a shell. I mean, an air-conditioned shell, and then you can find ways to put seats in it and put the floor in it. It's done every day out here in America.
Well, they've been trying to build one in Lagos for the past 3 years. They're not getting any headway. But finally, sir, I really need you to help us answer this question properly. Should we be looking to host a Commonwealth Games, given the myriad of problems that we have, given the rather poor substandard nature of our domestic leagues that are not even working properly? Someone was saying if we just plow just a fraction of that money into getting the basketball league up and running, the football league up and running, I mean a proper tennis league up and running, a swimming league up and running, an athletics meet of 10 meets across the country up and running, that will give us greater value, better sports development value than hosting the Commonwealth Games. Do you agree?
I guess I don't disagree with that at all. I think the investment we should be making in Nigerian sports is putting money into running local productions, just like you said. Look, if you put a huge amount of money in our football, in our league, you do a good investment with that money. And over the next 10 years, you would probably see it grow to a very reasonable standard. What we always think that when we think about spending money, we are always thinking about instant spending. You can invest money in our league, not by spending immediately, but by buying assets. I always said that, look, in 2010, when we were, fumbling and trying to get to the World Cup, that the Governors Forum or something was able to raise a lot of money. There was excess of that money after we qualified. What did they do? They wanted to invest that money. They then put it in trying to build an NF Federation headquarters in Abuja. But they made the wrong move. They built it in the same stadium that I said is not worth, nothing is worth, it's too far from town. That money could have been used in buying land in Banana Island and building an office complex that they could also be renting out space and halls for AGMs and all that and have revenue. We don't seem to understand that when you say business is a sport or sports is business, you have to think along the lines of always how do you make money, just not from the sport, but around the sport. Well, that's the problem we're having.
I understand.
So every time government puts down money, we only just spend it.
Wow. Professor Patrick Omo-Osagie, thank you so much for joining us all the way from Houston. I know you've had a busy day, but thank you for making our time to talk to us tonight on Game On. Always a pleasure to have you on the show.
It's my pleasure. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.